had you, I treated you bad. Wrong, my dear. Girl, sing, don't you know I sit around with my head hanging down, and I wonder.
John Lloyd Young needs no introduction, ladies and gentlemen. And I am so happy to tell you that he is here in Los Angeles this evening, going to do his concert act called An Evening for Friends here at Sterling's upstairs at the Federal this evening, October 13th, and tomorrow evening, October 14th. Welcome again to Sterling's upstairs.
Well, good to be here as the performer.
As the performer this time, he's been coming in, seeing some of our shows recently, which we appreciate.
This is a good space.
Thank you. You know, it's the oldest building in the San Fernando Valley. It was built in 1926 as the Federal Bank, and there's some great history in this room.
Oh, I thought it was the federal prison. It's a bank.
No.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I think that's a little
exactly. And you're performing
a little better karmically.
on our stage. It was the actual vault.
Well, there you go.
So if you feel the money tonight, that's where it's coming.
All right.
Yeah.
So we should have called it John Lloyd Young, An Evening from the Vault.
I like that. So you're going to be doing a show this evening here at the club that you did at the beautiful Carlisle in New York, which is based pretty much on his beautiful new album, My Turn.
We built the playlist for the Carlisle and recorded the album for the Carlisle, and now, but that's East Coast, and
Right.
I live out here, and,
Right.
and all of these musicians that are playing with me tonight are on the album. We recorded it out here, and this is the first time that we're actually taking these songs and doing them live here on the West Coast.
Fantastic.
And I'm happy that we're doing it at your venue.
We're happy about that too, but there's an interesting story about how these songs came to be for the album. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, not surprisingly, you do a show like Jersey Boys, and which takes songs from the 60s and turns them into Broadway standards, overnight. And when one gets notoriety for something like that, tend to be asked to do songs from that period, So all of these years since first opening Jersey Boys, I've been asked to sing songs from that period all over the country. And the audience has always gone kind of nuts for them. And so when we got together with our music director, Tommy Farragher, to do an album, we said, well, let's take the best of these songs that have been working so well, all these things that we've been doing all over the country, and put them on one album, and put a show together for the Carlisle. And we did that, and we had a really successful run at the Carlisle. We've been there 3 times now, so it's about time that we bring this show to our home base here.
Yeah, exactly. John recently did my radio show, State of the Arts, with LA Talk Radio, and he made mention of the fact that this project, the album project, took 5 years to collectively come together.
Well, there's a little bit of a kind of identity crisis when you're singing songs from the 60s on a Broadway stage, and yet you're in a Broadway musical that wins Best Musical at the Tony Awards for Broadway. There's a genre kind of identity crisis that's started on Broadway probably about 15 years ago, but now there's traditional Broadway and there's pop music finding its home on Broadway, and they're both living there together, with like Beautiful this past season,
Right.
Motown, and it's there to stay, and so these songs kind of qualify as Broadway songs, but I had to decide, am I going to sing traditional Broadway songs or am I going to sing rock? And I found over the years that the rock songs, the pop songs are more accessible sometimes in places that aren't as Broadway-centric as New York. And people always know those songs, though they may not know a song from Les Mis or whatever. And, I had a great time playing Les Mis right here in California at the Hollywood Bowl a few years ago. But I had to decide where my playlist was going to go. And it seemed like a better and more appropriate fit to choose to sing classic songs from the 60s as modern standards.
Absolutely.
Standards, even all these years later, are understood as songs that were written in the 30s, 40s, and 50s and sung by people like Sinatra and Tony Bennett. But these songs from the 60s that were rock songs are now 50 years old. And it's about time that they become part of the standard repertoire too. So that's kind of our project, and at least with the audiences that we're exposed to, and with this album, and it's been very satisfying.
Well,
These are still lyrics that they're not the kind of pop song where the lyrics don't have integrity anymore. So you can still get behind these lyrics as an actor and still make the songs mean something, because it's not just one lyric repeated over and over and over again. There's a beginning, middle, and end to these songs. There's a contained story there, and it's actually a really natural fit for an actor who finds himself having to choose what songs he's going to sing.
Exactly. Now, at this point in time, I know the album is new and it's still out there, and if you haven't gotten your copy of it, you should, absolutely, because as John
Because it was
said,
self-produced, and we'd like to pay back our investment. So can you help us with that?
There you go, little Kickstarter. But the truth of the matter is what he just said, these songs are American standards, and 50 years later, now they're being given a new, thrilling rendition by John Lloyd Young. I've heard the cuts, and they're pretty amazing. Is there another album in the works for you? Are you at that point of looking ahead and saying, what's the next album going to be on?
Yes, but there's two things going at once. One is original material, which will take longer because we want to make sure that they're the right choices, and writing is a kind of a new thing.
Right.
We're writing with Tommy, our music director, who is a songwriter already, and other songwriters. But in the meantime, perhaps working on like a My Turn 2, the songs that some of the older songs that didn't make this album that we still want to sing, and some of them, one of them I'll sing here tonight on the stage. It's not on the album, but it may be on the next one. So we've been accumulating a list for several years. Like you said, it took 5 years to decide what we wanted our first album to be, and all of those years, I have a journal that I've been keeping for like 7 years now that has all these songs in it that I want to get at, and so some of those are probably going to end up on it. The next album will probably be old songs again, treated as standards, old rock songs treated as new standards.
Very nice. We are so happy that you are doing the show here this evening based on the album that is so beautiful, and if you don't have it, go and get it. I've got a copy of it. You can get it easily on Amazon, CD Baby, iTunes, you name it. It's out there. John Lloyd Young, thank you for stopping by Broadway World TV.
Glad
This
to
is
be
Michael
here.
Sterling. We'll see you soon.
Kiss me when you do.